And I'm like, this Kendrick nigga has now infiltrated on Drake's biggest media correspondent, and he got AKADEMIKS sounding like he trying to keep it fair.
Drake?
All right. Kendrick has responded with 616 in LA. Y'all, it's going to be a crazy Friday. I know it. Once again, I want y'all to notice that Kendrick might be working for Joe Budden, all right? Because look, when he dropped the first diss, it was right when Joe was recording the podcast. Now he's done it again. He's dropped this today on Friday where Joe is recording the Saturday pod. So Kendrick is kind of helping Joe get into the podcast and talk about the diss records. Meanwhile, when Drake was dropping, he was doing it while Joe was kind of taking a break from the podcast between days. So he was dropping it after the Joe podcast. So then Joe had to wait to talk about the diss records. I hope y'all are noticing that. All right. Now, he said a lot in this diss track. We gonna go through a couple of lines. Let's get to it.
Find the Jews like Cash Doll. I just need you to think. Are you finally?
Now, when mentions Cash Doll, if y'all don't know, Cash Doll and her ex broke up because of Drake. So Drake's camp might be thinking that Cash Doll is the leak, because I don't know if y'all remember, Cash Doll was kind of hanging around with Drake a few years ago. And that led to her breakup in her relationship. So to get revenge, they thinking, oh, maybe Cash Doll will start telling some of Drake's secrets, right? But y'all got to rewind it to We Still Don't Trust You. The Weeknd was the first person to even bring out or tell the public that Drake has some leaks in his operation. That's a quote from The Weeknd. They got leaks in their operation. Okay, I can't hit that high note right now. It's early than a motherfucker. But that's the whole thing right now, that people in OVO are telling Drake's secrets. And you see Kendrick get into a lot of that on this record, all right? Also giving AKADEMIKS some smoke too, but I'm moving a little too far ahead, all right?
Everyone inside your team is whispering that you deserve it.
Everybody in your team whispering that you deserve it. And the more we talk about these people inside of Drake's camp leaking shit, it makes me think Kendrick better be careful. Because what if Drake is actually having somebody leak certain shit to make it seem like he got a leak? Like, I wouldn't rule that out as a possibility. Maybe this is some type of plot, a ploy by Drake. Like, niggas better step wisely. By the way, y'all see the album art is this Maybach Music glove. And this goes back to the first track, Euphoria, where Kendrick was kind of using a lot of inspiration from other people who have got into back and forths with Drake. So you saw Kendrick mentioning shit that Pusha T said, talking about his label and who he signed to. You saw him mentioning the race part, just like Rick Ross. And once again, Kendrick is showing us, hey, I'm fucking with Ross. Why would you put the Maybach Music glove unless you trying to let us know that you sliding for Meek Mill? Is this the revenge for Meek, or are you trying to let us know that you're siding with other people in this beef? That goes back to the 20 versus 1 with Drake. Because I know y'all not going to look at this glove and say, this is just a Maybach Mercedes glove. You know, hell no. This is a message to show that Kendrick is fucking with Rick Ross and Meek when it comes to this beef. Or maybe he just trying to get in Drake's head to make him think that, yeah, nigga, you might have pieced it up with Meek, but I'm working with them. I'm working with him and Rick Ross too. I don't know. That's why I said the psychological mind games is getting deep.
Till you start to put money in the streets, they lost money because they came back with no receipts.
It was fun till you started putting money in the streets, then they came back with no receipts. And by the way, I keep saying shit that I should have said in the beginning of the video, but the track is called 616 in LA. That's a play off of all of Drake's freestyles. You know what I mean? Like, he always doing like some type of timestamp and where he at. You know, like so-and-so in Calabasas and so-and-so in Toronto. Like, he always does that timestamp, then the location he's in freestyles. So now Kendrick is copying that, which is very clever by him. But also when he mentions that putting money in the streets and you ain't getting nothing back, that's supposedly Drake's MO. Now, if you really want to get technical, Pusha T kind of started that first. He put a whole bunch of money in the street so he can get something back for Drake. That's what led to the whole, you know, take care of your son shit. But then Drake, I guess he kind of adopted the same thing and started putting money out in the street for Pusha, maybe even Meek, and of course, Kendrick Lamar right now. But he's saying, hey, ain't nothing came back. But that's another thing too, Kendrick, because I listened to Mr. Morale and you was talking about some of your sins on that album. So don't be too quick to say nothing came back. Maybe nothing came back that you give a fuck about, but it might be something out there. That's something y'all need to, like, if you're a real hip hop fan and you was listening to Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, it seemed like Kendrick was a little guilty for how he might have treated his woman a few times. Like, it's some stuff out there. I even heard there's some rumor about Kendrick putting his hands on somebody. I don't know if that's true, but that also brings me into Kendrick mentioning, don't tell no lies about me and I won't tell the truth about you in the last record. And so do you think these two, or maybe even Drake, will start making up shit? As long as it sound good, doesn't matter if it's true or false. Nas did the same shit when he was going at Jay-Z. He was making up lies. And a lot of y'all will still say Ether was the better record.
100 that you got on salary and 20 of them want you as a casualty. And
now when Kendrick says that, I got to bring in some of my personal opinions, because even going back to, do y'all remember when Drake did that song with Khaled, I'm on One? And he's in this video with all of these niggas. And for a time, y'all, it really felt like, and these is real OVO niggas, by the way. My man's in the back with that Crooks and Castle shirt on, the one that say Crooks #1. That's the nigga who's still with Drake till this day. That guy sitting on the couch, that's one of Drake's friends. I think that's Milo and Milo, something like that. So a lot of these niggas are still with Drake. But my thing is, I used to look at this as a little crazy, because I'm like, you know, why is he living with these niggas? It almost seemed like, and he would even rap about it. Remember that line he had about, you know, girls want to, you know, they want to wake up and be able to walk around my house naked without running into one of my niggas? Because he was saying, hey, I'm living in a house with all of these niggas like it's a bachelor pad. And that always seemed weird to me. And I would imagine that in 2024, he can't still be living like that. But there is a chance that when you run with that many niggas, you would have a few people that's, you know, acting a little iffy. That's why I said in 2024, he might have found out some of them niggas was flawed. He might have stopped fucking with some of those niggas. And maybe those people could be considered leaks now. Oh, I was with Drake for about five or 6 years, and now, you know, I'm selling information. By the way, Kendrick also mentioned that some of them niggas might be tired of your lifestyle, but they scared to tell you. You would imagine that's how it goes in these rap entourages. The big star might be doing a lot of shit, but people around them, you know, might be scared to say something. And I would say the same about Kendrick. You know, all of these stars, they have people around them that kind of, you know, play into their lifestyle or enable them without trying to give them a certain amount of criticism, because they don't want, you know, the big star to cut them off, stop fucking with them. You know, like I like that's the same with any celebrity. I don't care if it's a rapper, an actor, entertainer, super rich person. You have a lot of enablers and yes men. So, you know, Kendrick don't try to paint some picture as if you don't got niggas kissing your ass and your entourage. But I get it, at the moment we're talking about Drake. But I just felt like that was fair to put out there. By the way, I see niggas choosing sides because I was getting some of these lines from the Shade Room, and I noticed that the Shade Room cut out all the parts about AKADEMIKS because they fuck with AKADEMIKS. So they literally posted a few lines from the diss track, but they left out the shit about AKADEMIKS. I was thinking it came up after, then I had to remember like, oh nah, he got into the AKADEMIKS shit before he even started getting into the leak shit. So niggas is already playing sides. I need y'all to really notice that these industry niggas, the blogs, all this shit, they is really like playing sides and right in front of niggas' faces, bro. Like that shit is so funny to me, but you gotta respect it. But that talks to AKADEMIKS' power. And speaking of AK, let's get into this bar.
Somebody's line, I can see the vibes on AK.
I can see the vibes on AK. So he bringing AKADEMIKS into this shit.
He looking compromised. Let's peel the layers back. Ain't no brownie points with beating your chest, harassing Ant.
All right. So he's saying even he looking compromised, and he was talking about Ant. Now, Ant is Kendrick Lamar's manager. By the way, I'm hearing that a producer for Taylor Swift produced this track. So I hear people on the street saying this track is tailor-made, just like the freestyle from Drake. You get it? Because in Taylor Made, he was talking about how, you know, Kendrick is working with Taylor Swift right now and kind of dictating his moves. And then maybe Kendrick came back and said, oh, I got some Taylor Made for you. I'm going to use her producer with this track. So Kendrick is really getting into some deep shit, even though this is it's a quick record. It's not a super long record. As a matter of fact, at the end, he kind of just lets the beat play. But I feel like this was his attempt to give us a track like Taylor Made, where Drake didn't really say a whole bunch, but it was a good song and it was kind of precise and straight to the point. Even in the beginning of the track, Kendrick was just giving a whole bunch of metaphors. I even think he threw a line in there, something about half white or something like that. Another like colorist kind of diss, but he didn't really get to the shits until, you know, kind of like the end of the song. You know what I mean? And I guess you could say the same thing about Taylor Made because, you know, the first half was the Snoop AI and the Tupac AI, even though I feel like Drake was really getting at Kendrick with those AI bars. But I know a lot of y'all have disqualified that because of the AI. I don't agree, but let's get back to AK. Now, he said, you know, you don't get no brownie points going at my manager, talking to AK. Now, this is my thing. He didn't really say too much about AK. When he first mentioned AK, I thought he was going to go into some other shit. I thought he was going to try to, like, bring up the, you know, female harassment angle and shit like that. And I'm kind of glad he didn't do that. And I think that says a lot about Kendrick and his respect for AKADEMIKS, because y'all know anybody else who was going at AKADEMIKS, they would have mentioned, you know, the Chrissy Teigen stuff and the SZA stuff with AK, but Kendrick left that out. I want y'all to notice that too. So he was really kind of soft with AK, but he said the nigga is looking biased. And let me tell y'all, when I knew, I'm not going to say AK fucked up, but I knew he was going to be a target. See, yesterday, AKADEMIKS came out and he called cap on this rumor that Drake was dropping last night. And you would think to yourself, how does AKADEMIKS have all of this power to where somebody could just say, hey, Drake is dropping, and then AK comes out and says no, like he got direct word from Drake? Now, y'all need to understand that I know Drake and AK talk, but from me paying attention to AK, I always felt like their back and forths was really light as it pertained to this beef, as far as when Drake was dropping, how he's doing things, and this and that. Like, he'll tell AK, I'll see you soon, but that's not a direct date of when I'm dropping. By the way, Drake did not send AKADEMIKS his last 2 diss tracks early. A lot of other niggas was sending Drake shit early, like Rick Ross. But Drake didn't do that for Ak. But then it has me thinking, well, maybe Ak might have heard some of those diss tracks before everybody else and just kind of came out and did his coverage like he didn't hear them already. So maybe this, back and forth with Drake is deeper than a lot of us thought. Maybe like Ak could hear a rumor and then be like, hey, yo, Drake, are you dropping tonight? And Drake will respond, no. And just tell him flat out, no, I'm not dropping tonight. Even though that's not like no big information, but the lines of communication are strong. And so that builds into, we already know that Ak is a huge Drake fan. And Kendrick is saying that, oh, you're judging this beef bias. Now, when Euphoria came out, Ak was doing a lot of downplaying. And I knew he was going to do that because obviously people are categorizing him as a Drake minion. Now, I think Ak tries to be fair, but it's obvious he'll get emotional and loud when it comes to Drake. Now, for me, on the other hand, and, obviously I'm not as big as AKADEMIKS, but over the last couple of days, you had people thinking that I was like a Kendrick stan. And in actuality, I'm a Drake stan. But that's because my opinions seem to be kind of fair. I didn't really fuck with push-ups. By the way, push-ups is growing on me. I'm not gonna lie, push-ups is growing on me, but when I first heard it, I didn't like it as much as I liked Tailor-Made Freestyle. You know what I mean? And it's not a lot of Drake fans out there, and even Kendrick fans, by the way, who are able to be biased. All of these West Coast niggas, they just immediately crowned Kendrick as soon as Euphoria came out. That's not a fair perspective. To be honest, we gotta sit with shit for a couple of days to really give you a correct opinion. You know what I mean? Just like right now, I like this song, but is it the record that I feel like is really taking Drake out of here? No. And I see people online saying, oh yeah, after this, I know why J. Cole bowed out. I don't really think he said that much in this track. That's why I said he got into some things at the latter half of the record, but the first half, he was kind of just rapping. And I know it's hidden metaphors in there. I was looking at some of this Rap Genius lyrical breakdown of this shit. That's why I didn't pull it up, because some of that shit is off. They don't be knowing everything. Even the shit they said about AKADEMIKS, they said Ak still got a job at Spotify. That's been over with. So some of their information on that like Rap Genius shit is flawed. So there's no point in me even jumping to that. You know what I mean? I feel like I know more than them. No Diddy or no cap or no disrespect. I don't know what the fuck I'm trying to say. But, that's just how it is. But going back to the fairness conversation, I feel like this is kind of forcing AKADEMIKS to be fair. Because today, Ak is really calm. I was checking out his stream before I did my video, and I hear him talking about, ooh, I like this part. I like this part. He breaking down 616 in LA, and I just feel like he's trying to be a little more fair. And I'm like, damn, this Kendrick nigga has now infiltrated on Drake's biggest media correspondent, and he got AKADEMIKS sounding like he trying to keep it fair. Because Ak heard this and he knows, okay, now I don't want niggas to think I'm biased. I don't want niggas to think I'm too in line with Drake. He's on stream talking about, by the way, I'm not in Drake's camp. That's what he said today. And I fuck with Ak. But unfortunately, this is a reminder, hey nigga, if you got this job and you supposed to be the biggest like voice in hip hop, you and Joe Budden, you do have to try to be non-biased. So for me, this was cool. It was a light play. It was very smart for Kendrick. See, that's another thing. People were saying Kendrick was on the clock because Drake dropped twice. Well, now you blow all of that shit out of the water. Kendrick has dropped twice with about 9 minutes worth of music. The first one was 6 minutes. This one was 3:16, if I'm not mistaken. So now he's put out about 9 minutes worth of music. Maybe you could say 9.5. So now Drake is really on the clock. So he put the pressure back on Drake when Drake had put the pressure on him with 2 records. And that's why I said this nigga Kendrick is trying to be diabolical. You put out 2, I'm going to put out 2. Now let's see what you got, because apparently he's saying Drake ain't got no information from the cash he put out. So it's very interesting, y'all. Let me know what y'all think about this. Like the video and subscribe. I will see y'all next time. Peace.